Despite a foreclosure moratorium on VA loans ever since November last year, total foreclosures just leaped by 43% to the highest level in nearly 2 years. The types of loans that were hit particularly the hardest were FHA loans, which are very popular amongst first-time home buyers. In today's video, I'm going to share all the details, including the cities and states that have the highest foreclosure rates right now. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I appreciate you. This first report I want to share with you guys is from ICE, which was formerly Black Knight, a data analytics firm that supports the real estate industries here. Let's first talk about delinquency rates. These are rates in which people are late on paying their mortgages here. So serious delinquencies, which is defined by at least 90 days or more past due, remain 19% below the previous year. However, foreclosure starts. A foreclosure start, by the way, is a beginning phase in the foreclosure of a house. Think of it like a housing start. A housing start is a beginning phase in the construction of a building a brand new house, whereas foreclosure starts is the very beginning stage of foreclosing on a homeowner. So starts jumped to the highest level in almost 2 years. Loans in active foreclosure increased by 7,000, but still are about 23% below pre-COVID levels. Let's first talk about the national delinquency rate, because it actually decreased slightly this January, according to ICE, down to 3.38%, the lowest level since October this year. Pretty wild, right? Foreclosure starts increasing big time, whereas delinquency rates falling this January, the most recent trends we have as of yet. Here's a chart showing just that. The rate is at 3.38%. This is up from the all-time record lows we saw to start 2023, but has been more or less on an upward trajectory ever since December, and a slight decrease this January. Also at 3.4%, let's just call it, is still below the average from 2000 through 2005, when at that time the rate was at 4.61%. What's pretty remarkable about this chart here as well, going back to 2003, look at the rate back in 2010, 2009, 2010, the rate was around 10.5%. Now it's only at 3.4%. In regards to foreclosure starts, that hit a 21-month high this January, climbing above 34,000 nationwide for the first time since April 2022, despite a pause of VA foreclosures. So the Department of Veteran Affairs announced in mid-November last year a 6-month moratorium on foreclosures. So pretty wild to see that overall foreclosure starts increased to a 21-month high, despite the fact that VA loans or foreclosures on those was virtually non-existent this January. It says here, FHA foreclosure starts surpassed 14,900 this January, just below the 15,100 peak that we saw back in January of 2022. And there was around 18,800 foreclosure starts on conforming loans. Additionally, it says while VA foreclosure starts were all but non-existent this January, both FHA and conforming loans saw their biggest foreclosure volumes in 2 years, dating back to January of 2022. ICE also provided this chart going back to June 2021. This is the number of foreclosure starts by mortgage product type. VA is in blue, FHA is in gray here, and in black is conforming loans such as conventional mortgages here. VA loans, of course, is for our retired and also our armed forces who are active duty members. That was right here in blue. FHA loans require only a 3.5% down payment requirement. VA is at 0%. No down payment required for those type of loans. A great loan product. In any case, because of that moratorium that was set back in mid-November of 2023, VA loans in foreclosure virtually non-existent, whereas foreclosures of FHA loans saw a big increase in January as well as conforming loans as well. So despite this moratorium on VA foreclosures, the total amount of foreclosure starts reached the highest levels going back to right here. And that was back in April of 2022. Data analytics giant ICE also predicted the level of foreclosures in the future as well based on this. It says, while foreclosure starts jumped sharply in January, an assessment of seriously delinquent loans suggests that near-term foreclosure risks remain muted. So in other words, if someone's very late on paying their mortgage payment, more than 90 days past due, that would imply that we should see an uptick in foreclosures in the months and potential years ahead. But because serious delinquency rates are still remain very much muted, they're suggesting that overall foreclosures will likely be muted in the future here as well. Of course, time will tell, and I'll definitely keep you posted with latest developments on that. The number of seriously delinquency mortgages improved by 5,000 in January, down 109,000 from the same time last year, and remains well below pre-pandemic levels. Additionally, while foreclosure protections continue to slowly wear off, some 70% of all serious delinquencies remain protected by either active forbearance. In other words, you get permission from your loan servicer that, hey, I'm having a financial hardship, I can't pay my payment, and therefore I want some protections in the form of a mortgage loan forbearance. That was enacted back in March of 2020 when the CARES Act was passed right after the onset of COVID. Other protections in place, of course, are bankruptcy and other loss mitigations. Meanwhile, 29% of serious delinquencies remain in active forbearance, down from more than 80% in 2020, with 28% in other forms of active loss mitigation and 13% in active bankruptcy. This is a chart showing just that. Foreclosure protections really were great back in 2020 through the early parts of 2021 due to mortgage loan forbearance, which is in blue right here. But ever since then, the number of people in forbearance has been decreasing, and right now it's at very low levels. If you guys are curious about average credit scores for people buying houses right now, here's a really good chart showing just that, going back to January of 2018. The blue line at the above right here are people who are buying a house using a conventional mortgage. They're also repeat buyers. That's what RB means. And FTHB means first-time home buyers. So repeat buyers using conventional mortgages here, the average credit score this January, around 760. Compare that to first-time home buyers using conventional mortgages, that's around 750. By the way, in order to get the best interest rate, you need your FICO score to be around 740 or higher. So the average credit score well above that for conventional mortgages. In contrast, for VA loans, the average credit score around 730. And also for FHA loans, repeat buyers, it's around 790. Okay, let's change gears slightly here and talk about another report. This is from ATTOM, or ATTOM, just announced today, which is March 12th. This is based on foreclosure activity as of February. ICE was based on January's data, just announced about a week ago, but this is for the month of February. They go over different stats here, but what I really like about this article here, they go over the cities and states that have the highest rates of foreclosures here. So as of February this year, there was a total of about 33,000 US properties with foreclosure filings. These are default notices, scheduled auctions, or bank repos, down 1% from January, but up 8% from 12 months ago. In regards to the highest foreclosure rates by state, leading the nation was actually in South Carolina. After that was Delaware, Florida, Ohio, and Connecticut. In regards to the biggest metro areas that have a population greater than 200,000, the highest rates this February were Columbia, South Carolina, Lakeland, Florida, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Merced, California. That's about an hour and a half south of Sacramento. and Florence, South Carolina. The metro areas with a population of at least 1 million people with the worst foreclosure rates this February were Orlando, leading the nation. After that, we have Cleveland, Ohio, Riverside, California, and SoCal, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Miami, Florida. Also, according to Adam, lenders started the foreclosure process on nearly 23,000 U.S. properties this February. That's up by 4% from January and up by 11% from a year ago. The states with the biggest foreclosure start rates this February were Florida, California, Texas, New York, and Ohio. Among the U.S. metro areas with a population of at least 200,000, leading the nation was actually in New York. After that, we have Houston, Texas, Los Angeles, Chicago, Illinois, and Miami, Florida. And with that said, please comment below your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys want a real estate agent referral anywhere in the United States, check out my website, which is realestateteamfinder.com. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Like and subscribe. I appreciate you. Have an awesome day.